Class 12th, Subject Physics, 11th chapter, Magnetic Materials. From the chapter, let us see the effect of temperature on ferromagnetism. As the temperature of a ferromagnetic material is increased, the domain structure starts distorting because the exchange coupling between the neighboring magnetic moments will become weaker and weaker. At a certain temperature, depending upon the material, the domain structure collapses. That is, the domain structure will get destroyed totally and the material behaves like a paramagnetic material. The temperature at which a ferromagnetic material is converted into paramagnetic material is called as Curie temperature. The temperature at which a ferromagnetic material is converted into paramagnetic material is called as the Curie temperature Tc for that material. Now the relation between the susceptibility of the material when it has acquired the paramagnetic property or state and the temperature, so that relation between susceptibility and the temperature is given by the relation susceptibility C equal to C upon T minus Tc, where C is constant, Tc is Curie temperature. But this relation will be valid for T greater than Tc. The temperature of that material must be greater than the Curie temperature. Now, in this diagram, the susceptibility versus temperature is plotted. If you plot this graph, then for smaller temperatures, the susceptibility will be large and it will be positive. Therefore, this portion will represent the ferromagnetic material. Now, when T is equal to Tc, this ferromagnetic material will start converting into this paramagnetic material, and therefore, beyond Tc, beyond this temperature Tc, this portion of the graph will represent the paramagnetic material. So, this will be regarding the effect of temperature on the ferromagnetic materials. And now let us see the next point, that is, what is hysteresis? What is hysteresis? So this diagram will represent the hysteresis. In order to explain this hysteresis, let us consider an unmagnetized ferromagnetic material in the form of a rod which will be placed inside a solenoid. Now on passing current through the solenoid, the magnetic field will be produced and which will magnetize the rod. Now knowing the value of susceptibility of the material of that rod, the magnetization M of that rod can be easily calculated by using this formula, that is, magnetization M is equal to susceptibility C into magnetic intensity, or H is equal to B upon mu 0 minus M. Now, if you consider this graph, then in this case, the graph of magnetic field against magnetic intensity H is plotted. In short, when from this graph, when H is equal to 0, that is magnetic intensity is 0, B will be equal to 0, that is, it will represent unmagnetized state. Then, as there is increase in the value of H, B will also go on increasing. When it reaches to point A, it will represent its maximum value, that is maximum value of B, which is nothing but the saturation. But this process is not reversible, and therefore when there is decrease in the value of H, there will be decrease in the value of B also, but instead of O, this graph will come back to point B, and therefore in this case small magnetic moment will be aligned in the direction of magnetic field. This point B is called as the retentivity because small magnetic field will be present there. Then beyond that, the graph will come down, it will touch to x-axis, and this point C is called as coercivity. Beyond that, again there will be increase in the opposite direction in the value of B, that is towards negative side, and therefore again there will be increase in the value of H. Then B will reach to point D here, at which again there will be saturation, that is maximum value of B. Beyond that, when there is decrease in the value of H, then B will also go on decreasing, but it will not become equal to 0, it will reach to point E. Beyond that point E, when there is increase in the value of H, the graph will touch this H axis at point F, and then further for increase in the value of H, it will be traced from F to A, so that one complete cycle will get completed or one loop will get completed. Now this diagram will be now described like this, as it shows the behavior of the material for one cycle of the magnetization. At point O, that is the origin, the material is in unmagnetized or non-magnetized state. As the strength of magnetic intensity H is increased, B also increases, but that increase will be non-linear. Then near the point A, the magnetic field B is at its maximum value, called as the saturation. If H is increased further at point A, then there is no increase in the magnetic field B. Now this process is not reversible. At this stage, if the current through solenoid is now decreased, the earlier part OA of the graph is not retraced. When H is equal to 0, we do not get B equal to 0. This value of B, when H is equal to 0, is called as retentivity. Now when the current in the solenoid is increased in the reverse direction, the point C on the graph is reached, where we will get magnetic field B equal to 0. Now for certain value of H, B will be equal to 0. The value of H when B is equal to 0 is called as coercivity. Then at this point, the domain axes are randomly oriented with respect to each other, and hence B will be equal to 0 and H will not be equal to 0. Now if the current is further increased, B increases and again reaches to saturation on the opposite side, that is at point D. If H is increased further at point D, B does not increase. Now from point D onwards, when H is reduced, B also will be reduced along the path DE. At this point E, again H is equal to 0 and B is not equal to 0. That means some magnetic moment will be again aligned in the direction of magnetic field. Now further increase in the current gives the curve EFA. On reaching point A, one loop will get completed, and this loop is called the hysteresis loop, and the process of taking magnetic material through this loop is called as the hysteresis cycle. So like this, A, B, C, D, E, F, A will give rise to the hysteresis loop or hysteresis cycle. Now let us consider the next point, that is the permanent magnet and the electromagnet. Now what are these permanent magnets and the electromagnets? in order to prepare the permanent magnets or the electromagnets, iron material will be used. In one case it will be soft iron, in other case it will be hard iron, and therefore permanent magnets are prepared by using a hard ferromagnetic rod. When the current is switched on, magnetic field of solenoid magnetizes that rod. As the hard ferromagnetic material has property to retain the magnetization to larger extent, the material remains magnetized even after switching off the current through the solenoid. So in this way, for preparation of the electromagnets, the hard iron will be used. On the other hand, as soft iron is having larger permeability, which is always greater than 1000, and small amount of retaining magnetization is used for the preparation of the electromagnet. So when a soft iron rod is placed in a solenoid core and the current is passed through the solenoid, the magnetic field associated with it increases when the current in the solenoid is switched off. The magnetic field becomes zero, and these electromagnets are used in the electric bells, loudspeakers, similarly circuit breakers and research laboratories. Now giant electromagnets are used in the cranes for lifting heavy iron materials. Similarly, superconducting magnets are used in NMR, that is nuclear magnetic resonances spectroscopy, NMR spectroscopy, in which the superconducting magnets are used. So these are the permanent magnets and the electromagnets. So remember, the permanent magnets are prepared by using hard ferromagnetic rod, while the electromagnets are prepared with the help of the soft iron. So this will be regarding permanent magnet and the electromagnet. Now let us see the next point, that is magnetic shielding. What is that magnetic shielding? Here the two magnetic poles N and S are shown. These dotted lines will represent the magnetic lines. Here there will be a iron ring, and this area will be shielded area, that is protected area from the magnetic field. So if you consider this magnetic shielding, then when a soft iron magnetic material, that is ferromagnetic material, is kept in a uniform magnetic field, the large number of magnetic field lines will be crowded off inside the material. So when a soft iron ferromagnetic material is kept in uniform magnetic field, the large number of magnetic field lines crowd off inside the material, leaving a few magnetic lines outside. Most of the lines will be crowded into the iron shell, and this effect is called as the magnetic shielding. The device which need to be protected from the magnetic field is completely surrounded by the soft ferromagnetic material, and this is used in spaceships. In scientific experiments, high magnetic fields of magnets are shielded by providing a case made up of soft ferromagnetic materials. So in case of this magnetic shielding, these magnetic lines, some of the magnetic lines will be crowded inside that substance, and some of them will be, that is few of them will be outside this substance, and due to these magnetic lines, this material will get shielded, it will be protected. So this will be regarding the magnetic shielding.